Hey, I thought. Really? Wait. Hold on, deny. Fuck. Just gotta do that. Hold on. What's the thing is, no one's expecting me. I just moron. Oh, okay. Oh, kind of work. No, I'm not trying to do that. Where's. Hold on. Mute. Stream edit. I thought it would show like. Hmm. Huh. I thought. Okay. Yeah. You know what? Everyone, don't be assholes to each other. Don't be assholes. Ah. Okay. Hmm. Screen. Entire screen. Chrome tab. But where's like? Yeah, I guess this will be the stream for that because like I thought that would do it, kind of automatically. Yeah. Okay. So I thought I would share it. Hold on. Really? Okay. I guess. Okay. Well, you know what they say, the show must go on. Playing college football. Okay. Yeah, I like writing paper. Deal with it. Alright, everyone. For anyone watching the stream, or that, or watch my face cut off, welcome. And now, let's just do what the title of the video says, so it's not, what is it? Evil? Let's start off with some college football. We could talk about the Wisconsin-Michigan game. We could talk about Clemson. We're going to be talking about Clemson and North Carolina. For this game, I'm picking Clemson to beat the spread. I have experienced on College Football 25 Bill Belichick's team. And remember, it'll be Dabo Swinney versus Bill Belichick. Probably the first time ever. Legendary NFL coach versus a legendary college coach in college. They'll probably do some theatrics, probably talk about their careers, and then in the game. And then at the end, because Clemson does have a better roster and quarterback, Clemson should win this game by the 14.5. And I'm not looking at the records. I am not looking at the records for this one because it's only a one-game difference where North Carolina is 2-2, Clemson's 1-3. If you're telling me North Carolina can hold on to 14.5, and with the roster they have in college football, which I think is the closest thing you can do to assessing a team that you're not have no association with, I feel comfortable with Clemson winning this game. And do I think they'll make this spread? I think they will, and I'm kind of repeating myself because I said that earlier. Just feel like saying this for anyone watching who's like, I'm going to gamble. Gamble only if you can afford to lose. Gamble if you can afford to lose. And speaking of that, someone who might lose a lot of steam this weekend might be Arch Manning when he goes to Florida. A lot of people are picking this game. SEC defense versus Arch Manning. Arch Manning, will he rise? Will he become the Heisman favorite in this game? Or will Florida, who is the second, who's doing okay but not as good as University of Miami, will they get the dub? And then it's at 3:30 on ESPN. Texas at Florida, 3:30 p.m. ESPN, and Texas has to win by 5. For this, while Texas may win the game, I think because of the fact so many people have talked about Florida positively, and they're doing okay this year, and Arch has had some moments of, can he get to the point? Can he get to where the hype meets the expectation? I think if you're telling me, like, it's straight Pickem, I think Texas finds a way to win this game. If you're saying the spread, I'm staying away from it, to be honest. I'm staying away from the spread in this game. If anything, I'll probably pick Florida. Because it's at Florida in that heat. Texas heat versus Florida heat, different. Spread too much. I don't think Arch is used. He's not like he's rivals with Florida, so he's not used to that. There's a lot of factors in there, both on and off the field, that thinking about it are important. Not going to be wrong, and Arch just has one of those games to think, he's a Manning game. He could, but I haven't seen it yet, and it'll have to happen at some point. I think it'll be closer to the middle of the season rather than this game. Again, because the heat difference, humid difference. He hasn't shown up yet. There's been moments where people have talked about he hasn't met the expectations, and he hasn't done the thing where it's like he's played well, and because of that, I think it's more of a disappointment because he's not, for valid reasons. At least from my perspective, at least the Ohio State game. I expected a little bit more. Low scoring game, if that's the first week. Everything has kind of been getting there, but I think it's going to probably take another week or two before he has that's a Manning type game. But we'll see. And finally, a game I never thought could have been possible, at least under the Nick Saban era. Vanderbilt at Alabama. Vanderbilt being 5-0, Alabama being 3-1, and Alabama being picked to win by 11. At 10.5, I was rounded up. Well, they won by 11. And this one, I think it'll be a high-scoring, close game. So they maybe reach the 40, like both teams reach 20 points, for example, but it's like 25-27. I think Diego Pavia has proven to be a good leader. I think he'll be underrated in terms of both draft and for maybe a late season Heisman. I think he'll get some votes there because of his on-field impact with Vanderbilt. I think those will extremely increase if he beats Alabama at Alabama. I think he'll probably become at least the number 4. He will get in contention if he takes Vanderbilt and beats Alabama at Alabama. But if I'm just picking a team, I'm picking Alabama. If I have to have Alabama with that spread, I'm picking Vanderbilt. That spread is way too much. Again, as I talked about Diego Pavia and his playmaking ability. And I'm just going to say this. Alabama may have... I remember, Alabama had a moment like, well, what happened to Alabama? And it was from weeks 2 to 3. And then they had one good game. And then I think they beat Georgia, I think. Or did Georgia finally beat them? I don't know. I don't know. Comment below. Did Georgia beat Alabama finally? Or did Alabama just do normal doesn't beat Georgia? Right now, definitely seeing that. But, I mean, an upset fourth quarter, possibly final drive, like 24-27 or 24-30, and it's in Diego Pavia's hands. I could see it. I could see him going down the drive and possibly making a touchdown with the extra point to win the game. I can see that. Alabama offensively has been good. They had struggles, and then they were good. I mean, they had so much of struggle against Florida State that people were questioning what happened to them. But it looks like they're back, or a version of them that's getting to where they can be back. Defensively, I think I need to see a game. This could be the game where either they make a key stop and get some confidence there, more confidence there, or they continue to struggle and either just survive, which kind of looks the same to be honest. Like it's a high-scoring game, they just don't stop and they don't make a stop, or they just lose the game and don't lose some confidence. It would be interesting to see if the Vanderbilt's offense can rise to where Diego Pavia is considered a Heisman candidate, or will Alabama's defense rise and bring it back to the standard, closest standard Nick Saban's had it. So that'll be interesting. A lot of interesting storylines. I think it will be interesting to see how college football talks about the Bill Belichick and North Carolina team versus Dabo Swinney. Will they go storyline? Will they go like this? We'll see. And you'll see when you watch college football. Last college game. And it's the Saturday night matchup between the Miami Hurricanes and the Florida State and Seminoles. So a battle of the Florida State, and you'll notice a lot of Florida teams are in key games this weekend. Good for Florida. University of Miami is 4-0, and they have to win by 5 at Florida State, who is 3-1. I think. Oh, well, so does my camera. My camera, and I think that University of Miami will go 5-0, and I will take the spread again. If you can afford to lose, you can bet. But if you can't afford to lose, don't bet. Remember, again, if you can afford to lose, which means you have enough money, where $5, where $10, where you're not betting to get back in and even out, you're getting there to enjoy it. That's all. Enjoying it, as you're not stressing about anything. And I'm stressing this part only because gambling's a serious issue, especially the way the sports are. And you didn't want a PSA? Well, there we go. But yeah, join betting. Only bet if you can afford to lose. ABC is hosting the Sunday night premiere matchup of the 4-0 Miami Hurricanes, who have to win by 5, host and at going to Florida State, who is 3-1. Again, with those, I trust Miami to win the game, and I trust them with the spread. Again, if you can afford to lose, you can gamble. Just saying that for my sake. And now we got those out of the way. Oh. So I had, there we go. Didn't have all the paperwork out. Just had some. Hold on. All right. All right. Welcome back. No commercial break, and I just switched paperwork. Lightly in the paper makes it easy. So I knew I could do this. But let's go back or forward to Sunday matchups. And I decided to do a 1, 4, 8, the Sunday night matchup, and Monday Night Football. The 1 p.m. game I chose, and I'll admit this first, I'm a Philadelphia Eagles fan. And while I'm not worried about that game, I just think that I don't want to be too much of a homer. And like, oh, the Eagles this, oh, the Eagles that. They have a tough matchup this week against the Denver Broncos. Both offensive have offensive solutions to, how can I say it? Good football team, all 3 phases of the game, with a great head coach in Sean Payton. That's all. That's the easiest way to put it. Okay. Diet Coke. Let's get right into it. So the 1 p.m. game, the Dolphins had the Panthers. Yeah, that one. I know you don't. I don't know. Everyone doesn't like it. I know everyone doesn't like it, especially since both these franchises are 1-3. And I could say this: the only team who I think has gone worse for. Actually, I can't even think of that. Maybe the Cleveland Browns is the only team that in their 3rd team. That's the only other team that has gone worse for. And I could talk about the weird situation with Shador. Like, why would you do that? And I'm talking about the fact that it said we're on a take out Joe Flacco and put in Dylan Gabriel. And then Shador's still number 3 quarterback. Like, that's not the right situation. I personally, if I was a owner, GM, head coach, I think that is a very dumb problem that you're creating for yourself. because now it's like, well, you're not going to be playing Joe Flacco at all because you're either going to see what Dylan Gabriel is until he gets hurt, and I hope he doesn't. Knock on wood, knock on wood, knock on wood, knock on wood. Until either the season's over. And again, I'm surprised teams like go to these players early. I guess it worked out last week for the Giants against the Chargers. Rejuvenating them enough to win the game at home and still stay in contention. But one of the policies I have is let's wait until if we have a rookie quarterback, high value pick, I would wait until we're out of contention. Or unless the other guy gets hurt. Or unless he gets hurt. Well, that's just I rather cautious that because once you put them in, you cannot take them out. And that's the kind of idiotic mistake the Cleveland Browns made because you have two rookies. One's going to get playing time, and one's going to be a potentially wasted draft pick. Right now, that's looking like Dylan Gabriel's going to start, and Jajor was just like a random pick, which is stupid, but well, it's stupid. But then that's the Cleveland Browns, what they've done is stupid. So, but you elevate the third quarterback to second once the starter's out, and you're not putting Joe Flacco in. You're not putting Joe Flacco in unless somehow Dylan Gabriel gets hurt again. Hope he doesn't. Knock on wood, knock on wood, knock on wood, knock on wood. Or if Shador gets and Shador gets hurt. Knock on wood, knock on wood, knock on wood, knock on wood, knock on wood. So that's idiotic, to say the least. Cleveland Brown like mistake. I can understand having multiple quarterbacks. Actually, I can't because of the fact you don't waste. If you get one quarterback, you're just saying that's your quarterback. Now, the Washington team got Robert Griffin III, and then the 7th round got Kirk Cousins. That's more understandable because at least you're not picking him back to back, and you're also like, if Robert Griffin fails, you have another rookie. And by the way, there was no way Robert Griffin was going to fail. And you have someone who has some system. You don't have actually more than 3 quarterbacks, which means you don't have any quarterbacks is the key word. I like how this went from NFL Pickem to a little bit ran by the Browns, but the Cleveland Browns. But let's get back to this 1 p.m. game of possibly the worst game ever between two moronic teams. So it's the Dolphins going to the Panthers, and the Dolphins have to win by 2. And I'm picking is the Dolphins. Okay, I can understand why. Okay. It was a brave pick. I understand that. It was a very brave pick. Thank you. But the reason is right now, if you're telling me which team can at least, I have more faith in Mike McDaniel than I do in the other coach who I can't even tell you the name of. And the fact that I really don't know. I mean, it's just awful. Carolina Panthers are just awful. But if they have a quarterback issue, well, understandable. And Bryce Young. But he's at least starting, so it's not as bad. And the Dolphins are just bad because everything that happened to continue starting to unravel. So that's things. That's things for a Dolphins fan. But that's the situation we're in. And I think but right now, let's go to the other game. I don't want too much fun with this. Okay, at the 4 o'clock on CBS. By the way, the first game I said was on Fox, so just whatever you say with that. Well, nothing too weird. But going back, 4:05 p.m. CBS, Buccaneers at Seahawks. Now I think, or just saying no, I know this is a really crucial game because I believe in the long run, whoever wins this game will get the better seeding overall. I'm not talking about possibly the battle for number 1 seed is in this game. Battle for number 1 seed, battle for number like a high seed. Well, really the battle for number 1 seed because that's the only team that gets a bye. So this game's important for the long term of who gets a bye in the NFC playoffs. Who's closer to getting a bye in the NFC playoffs? And that's huge. Since there's only one bye, the number 1 team get the number 1 overall team in the NFC gets the bye. Everyone else has to play on wild card every weekend. So if there's only one if only the number 1 team in the entire NFC gets it, this is an important battle. Whoever wins this game is a little bit closer than the one to get the number 1 seed. Now, it's in Seattle, which favors the Seahawks, and Seahawks will by 4. I guess my question is this. Has Baker been up there? And can they handle a different weather? Because they were at home during a really hot game, and now they're going to Seattle where it's cold and rainy. They're literally going from like the bottom right of the country to the top left of the country. So I hope they have good plans. Jet lag will definitely be an issue. I will say because again, one of the great home teams with a great stadium, great fans, Seattle Seahawks. So I'm gonna pick the Seattle Seahawks to win by at least 4. And again, as I said before, only gamble if you can afford to lose. Only gamble if you can afford to lose. Let's say it again. You see at home? Can you comment below? Let's comment about that below. But this will be the Buccaneers at Seahawks is an important game for the overall race to get the number 1 seed. Whoever gets this is one closer. I would say Seattle has the advantage because they don't have who did Seattle lose to? Well, I know the Buccaneers lost to the Philadelphia Eagles. But Seattle, who did they lose to? I don't know, but I think, yeah. But I think right now, actually, yeah, the Buccaneers are in a better position overall because their division has the Carolina Panthers, the Saints, and the Carolina Panthers, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, New Orleans Saints. I'm forgetting. Oh, Atlanta Falcons. Atlanta's doing pretty well. So right now, yeah, I would say Seattle definitely needs this one game. I think they'll have the advantage to win the game. But overall, I think the Buccaneers could say, hey, we don't need to win this game because their division has two rebuilding programs in the Saints and the Carolina Panthers, and Penix is in his first year starting. Or like in his second year, but it's like his first year being a full-time starter, I think. So, well, first year being a full-time starter. Oh no, Kirk Cousins isn't. What am I talking about? So yeah, but Atlanta's they need to find a way to put it all together. I think the Bucs have, so I think overall the Buccaneers are in a good position. division-wise. But I think Seattle, if they win this game, which I predicting why, I think will be better, like record-wise throughout the NFC, which means they could possibly be in a better position to get the higher seeds. All right, we spent a lot of time on that. Let's finish up with the Sunday Night Football matchup. Huge one. It's on NBC at 8:20. The Patriots, who are 2-2, going to Buffalo, who are 4-0, undefeated, and Buffalo needs to win by 8. This one, first off, is a rule of 3, so by that means I'm picking the Patriots. I'm picking the Patriots because you're telling me 8 points better with a division rival. Who, by the way, the Patriots have stepped up their game this year. A lot of people noticed it. Picking the Patriots. If I have to take the Bills with the spread, I'm taking the Patriots. I think they'll keep the division rivals always know each other. I would say, again, blue moon situation, rare occasion if a division rival blows out another. So division rivals know each other, rule of 3. So I'm taking the Patriots. And then lastly, at the end, the Monday Night Football matchup between the Chiefs, who are 2-2. The Chiefs are 2-2 and have to win by 3.5 or 4. Going to Jacksonville, lose 3-1. Now, Jacksonville hasn't known to be the strongest there. I'm going to pick the Chiefs. This is the second game with their weapons back. And also, I'm just going to be honest here. Trevor and the Jaguars and Liam Cohen, their head coach, need to get on the same page. He might have that great Duval, but that's probably the best thing about him right now in terms of his coaching. Well, the Jaguars are 3-1. Yeah, but he also had that weird thing with with the coach stealing the signs, like Salah stealing the signs or something. That's, if there was any true merit to that, I hope that it will be handled correctly by the NFL. If there's any merit to that. And I hope they investigate and take it seriously. I just want to point that out. But Chiefs who have cohesion, understand the rules, everyone's back, and again, more of Jacksonville not being consistent enough. They have started to a great year, but they overall not been consistent in the Trevor Lawrence era. So I'm picking the Chiefs with the spread. The Chiefs will win by 4 on Monday Night Football on ESPN/ABC at 8:15 p.m. And those have been the College Football Pickems. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great night. Hope you enjoy the stream.